Hello again. It is Crew Call here on Motor Racing Network, taking you into the garage and talking to the men and women behind the wrenches. So glad you joined us. Steve Post, pit reporter for Motor Racing Network, and 25-time winner and championship-winning Cup Series crew chief Todd Gordon in studio, as is always the case. Hey, man, how are you?
I'm good.
Good, fantastic. Good to catch up with you. Good to talk to you. I'm looking back at this race at Vegas. And I was doing some affiliate calls. Every week we call affiliates. And they're like, what is that like when you're leading the race, checking out, and you have the late race caution? Ben Bayshore has been it. I always call it the sitting duck position. Todd, what is it like to be a sitting duck as a crew chief? Because I know you've been there as well.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah.
Ryan, we were leading the race, and Alex Bowman was actually second.
Hold on.
I'm not hearing him.
Test 1, 2.
Yeah, I'm not hearing. I was hearing you earlier. There we go. Try now.
Test 1, 2.
There we go. Yep, I got it. Okay.
I didn't hit it.
We'll start fresh.
I swear I didn't hit it. I did give you a test 1, 2 before.
Yeah, I know you did, and it worked. I don't know.
Well, maybe I hit it somehow, but I don't.
It's all good. It's all good. This one will be better anyhow.
Take 2.
All right.
We're ready.
All right. Am I on the single shot? Okay, there we go.
Yeah, he's going to be in
cool.
single shot.
There we go. Hello again. It is Crew Call here on Motor Racing Network. So glad you joined us as we go into the garage and talk to the men and women behind the wrenches. Steve Post, pit reporter for Motor Racing Network, joined by 25-time race-winning crew chief and a championship-winning crew chief as well, Todd Gordon. How are you, man? How's it going?
I'm great.
Good. I'm looking back at the race at Vegas, and I do a lot of affiliate calls during the week, and they're like, I can't imagine what that's like to be that crew chief. That crew chief, like Ben Bayshore was, leading the race, counting down the laps, and the caution comes out. I call it the sitting duck. Todd, I know you've been there. What's it like being a sitting duck crew chief?
Yeah, definitely was there in 2020, leading the race when caution came out with a handful of laps. I think less than 10 left. Not a green-white checker, but less than 10 left. And we were leading. Alex Bowman was second. Both of us had passed Joey Logano, and you looked at it, and we came down, took 4 tires, and Joey stayed out. Paul made a pretty ballsy call at that point, from what I thought, but they won the race, and we didn't. So it's a tough situation because you hate with a car that's driven to the lead to leave that one out there is like the sacrificial lamb. You don't want to not be aggressive. So you think put tires on it, let's go, let's be aggressive. But that at a place like Vegas that doesn't have a ton of fall off and does refire decently, that some people will make that call. And as I watched the race this weekend, I was surprised not to see somebody from 10th on back stay out. Just to try to cycle themselves forward. If you lead the first lap and a caution comes out, you may steal a win. But was not surprised at all to see the 2-tire call come from 3 cars. I thought it'd be more, but it's tough when you're leading not to put 4 field goods on it and let your driver go do his thing.
Because the problem is, it's not only what you need for your car. That really is just one factor of it. It's trying to figure out what every other crew chief up and down the pit road is doing.
Yes, that's the challenge to call in a race is not only what you want to do, but anticipating what others will do. And we've had this several times where you go through a strategy and you think about where is this going to lead and where does everybody else play? The competition cautions at times. 2 tires will play, but there's a lot of guys that won't do it. So you can kind of bias yourself towards understanding that 85 to 90% of the field's going to do the safe call, and you make that call accordingly. And those are the things late in the race. The benefit, the risk reward return is bigger for somebody who's back. If you've run 8th to 15th all day long, you're not going to drive from 8th to 15th on the same strategy as everybody else. So that's when a crew chief, especially with a green-white checker, because you've only got to hang on for 2 laps.
Right.
And it may only be one.
Right, yeah.
So the reward is big for the risk taken there, and that's one that as you said, the leader's a sitting duck in that one because it's tough to take a car that's driven from the back in a backup car.
Yeah, that's the other thing with
lead.
Kyle's situation there.
They've driven forward all day long, and to say I'm gonna put you at a deficit, only put you on 2 and see if you can hang on to it. That's a tough call to make.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, so let's take it to the other side of that. You're riding along, whether you're riding in second spot or whether you're riding in 8th or 10th, and it's like, okay, well, this is going to be a second place finish. Let's hang on, not finish third. And that caution comes out. That's just got to be new life.
It is, especially, and you look at it and, that puts it on, if you're second, third, fourth, you're looking at, okay, let's put it on our pit crew's shoulders.
Yeah.
Especially if you got a good pit crew that's had great opportunities. This is what they thrive for. So you come down pit road and see if your pit crew can cycle them out in front of the leader, and then you're in control of the race. But like I said, I was surprised to not see somebody around 10th.
Yeah, stay out.
Just to get the front row and see if they can hang on to it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Greg Ives and Alex Bowman are those duo. Greg has done that before. I'll never forget Richmond last year. He did it, and but they weren't good, and he made just the right air pressure adjustment for 2 laps, and Alex went from third to the lead and won that race.
Yes, and also Greg is in the same boat that I was. He was one of the victims of that 2020 race at Vegas. So his notebook's very defined about, I came and got tires with a car that was running down the leader. One of the two of us was going to win. We both came and got tires, and we got beat. Yeah. So it's in his notebook. It's vivid memory. It's burned into him.
If this, then that.
Yeah. Yeah. So at that point, he's very aware of the strategy call can be a winner here.
Yeah. Neat stuff, that's for sure. And congratulations to Alex Bowman and our buddy Greg Ives winning that race out at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We're going to have a lot of fun here today on Crew Call. We're going to talk some truck series racing. Danny Stockman, he picked up the win at Vegas as well with his driver Chandler Smith up at Kyle Busch Racing or Kyle Busch Motorsports. And we'll talk to Danny Stockman next. Welcome back. This week is Root Insurance Week on MRN. Hey, race fans, Root Insurance does car insurance differently. They're saving good drivers money on car insurance without the mascots. Get the app today, Root, for good drivers. So glad that you have joined us here on Crew Call. Todd Gordon and Steve Post. And let's go to the Zoom line. Joining us from up at Kyle Busch Motorsports, my buddy Danny Stockman's in the house. Hello, Danny. Welcome back to Crew Call.
Good morning. Glad to be here. Hope you guys are doing good.
We are doing well, Danny. The importance of getting a win early in the season. You guys picked one up on Friday night at Las Vegas. How important is that for you and your young driver and everyone there at KBM?
Super important. I mean, it's half the battle in this game is confidence. And whether you're a driver, a crew chief, a team guy, you got confidence in what you're doing. And we unloaded at Vegas really, really close and didn't really have to do much and didn't even make one adjustment in the race. So the confidence is high at KBM right now. All 3 trucks ran really good. We were all in contention to win, and Chandler stole it from the boss man. That was pretty awesome.
That's really cool. Does that change how you approach calling races for your particular team now that you got that win?
Yeah, for sure. I kind of made a bad call on Friday night. I wanted to win that first stage, just get a stage point. And I stayed out, and I know better than to give up track position. And I gave up track position. Luckily our truck was good enough to get back up to the front. But I think now you'll see me not have to worry so much about some of this stuff. And it's whether you're cup racing, truck racing, or whatever it is, it's track position is the most important thing at the end of the day. And if you have that, it makes your job a lot easier. And, winning a race, second race of the season, you don't go on cruise control, but your stress level's a little bit lower knowing that you can just race to race, and points don't really matter right now.
I think sometimes that makes you maybe more dangerous because you can just race for the end of that race. You're not fighting that battle that you fought during the race with stage points and what I need to do here. Yeah,
for sure. And I don't know if you'd say I'm dangerous, but if you look at Chandler the last 7 races, I mean, I'd call that pretty dangerous. He's hit a different gear and has a whole new level of confidence right now. And this team's just working really good. This is the same team I've had since I started at KBM. This is my 3rd season here, and it's been fun. I mean, it's trying to get everybody to gel together. You guys know that the team gel is super, super important, and the communication between crew chief and engineer and driver are super important. I got a new engineer halfway through last season, and it's just business has picked up. It's a pretty awesome feeling.
Danny, you've had an opportunity to work with several young drivers through your career. What's it take to develop them into winners like you've done?
You know, it's a lot of work. That's one of the reasons why I came back truck racing with Toyota, is to develop young drivers. I don't know if I have a knack, but I like it a lot. I like to develop the drivers. I like to work with them. They're so hungry. They work really hard. And once you work with these young kids and realize the work ethic that they're able to put in behind it, and then you've worked with the guys that have already made it, it's just a lot more fun. These guys, they're trying to make it. So they're trying to do everything right. They listen, they don't talk back, all the stuff that me and you've had to deal with over the years. It's just a lot more fun. And when you win with a young guy that doesn't have any experience, the rewards of the feeling that I get to win with a guy like Chandler Smith to beat Kyle Busch is, I mean, that's the best feeling in the world. I mean, just kind of like, you know, just a really good feeling. And if you win with Kyle Busch, you're expected to win. You know, it's not that big of a deal. But when you beat a Cup driver with a rookie, well, I still consider him a rookie. He's 19 years old, but it's just it's a feeling like you've never had before.
Danny, you and I chatted last fall here on Crew Call, and we talked about Chandler racing everything every time. And you talked about his confidence. 3 Truck Series wins in the last 7 races, but there's also a little Snowball Derby win in there in a super late model car. How important has that been, that even when he's not running the Truck Series, that he's out there still learning his craft? And how do you follow along, and how much do you guys talk about that form of racing?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, this weekend he's going to the Rattler in South Alabama to run a big super late model race. And that's what he does. I mean, if he's not truck racing, he's super late model racing. I've been working on trying to get him some Xfinity rides, trying to get him in some of that, because I feel like him racing every weekend is super, super important. And what I've noticed, truck racing, you kind of, I don't know, I don't mean this in a bad way, but it's kind of like country club racing. And it's hard to stay in a rhythm. It's hard to stay in a groove. The pace is so much different than what I've been used to over the years. And I want him staying busy. I want him staying active, and I want him in the seat, whether it's in a super late model, a truck. He's been going weekly to GoPro next door at GoPro Motorplex, running a lot of laps in shifter carts. And I think it's all just super important, staying in the seat, keeping your reflexes in tune, and you know, just wearing them out, keeping them busy. They don't need to be sitting at home. They don't need to be running them up. They need to be working on their craft, and that's what he's been doing.
So for everybody out there, including myself, you know, you're definitely a racer. Before your RCR days, what's your racing background?
So I grew up actually racing go-karts and quarter midgets since I was 5 years old. All the way, raced go-karts all over the country till I was 16. Raced super late models and such till I was about 19. And then at 19, I moved to Las Vegas to work for Orleans Racing for Michael and Paula Gahn. Brendan Gahn was our driver, and I worked with Steve Park and Brendan Gahn. Worked there for 4 years. And then I moved to North Carolina and worked for Kevin Harvick, which was a hero of mine growing up. And I was with Ron Hornaday for 4 seasons, and we just won a lot of races, a couple championships, and then I went to RCR to be Austin's crew chief. And then the rest is history.
Championship with Austin in the Truck Series, championship in the Xfinity Series. I was thinking about the two of you guys, and I actually joked around with you while we were setting up the Zoom call here. Todd took 4 years at Clemson University to get an engineering degree.
Might have been 6, but
Might have been 6, okay. You took a little bit different path. You went to Las Vegas and hung out with Brendan Gaughan. A little bit different tack there, but how important was that training and that schooling that you got in those early days, Danny?
So, like, one of the I've told this story a few times, but I don't know how much time we got. This might take a little bit, but I feel like it's a pretty cool story.
Go for it.
So I'm a third generation racer. My dad did this pretty much for a living, like on a Saturday night level. He built chassis. My grandpa drove for Vic Edelbrock in the 40s and 50s, midgets and sprint cars. He attempted the Indy 500 in 1957. Is that correct, G? I believe that's correct. 57. So I'm third generation. All I know is race cars, whether it's go-karts, late models, trucks, anything that has 4 wheels on it. It's what I do. It's what I enjoy to do. Whether I'm doing this or RC racing, anything I do, it has to do with racing and being competitive. So when I was probably 12, 11, around that age, I started. Back then we had a magazine called Circle Track Magazine, and my family used to get it in the mail once a month. And in the back of the Circle Track Magazine, there was books that you can order, chassis related books that you can order from Steve Smith Autosport. I believe that was Steve Smith was the author. And I'd have my mom order me all those books, and I like kids would read, Goosebumps books or whatever they did when they were kids. Well, when I was a kid, I'd go to bed reading Steve Smith books, trying to learn how to make these cars go. And I've read probably every one of them as a teenager. And that's where it all started. I mean, my dad was very smart, chassis smart, good with roll center and all that stuff when it really mattered a lot back in the day. And he taught me that stuff growing up, and I've kind of just really enjoyed it. I enjoy all the technical sides of the sport, and I've really enjoyed learning the engineering side of it and headed in that direction. If I could do it over again, I might go to school and even be better at the engineering side. But I'm pretty happy with where I've landed, and it's been a good ride so far. And I still come to work every Monday morning enjoying to be here, and that's what's important in life.
yeah, definitely. You don't have to go to school to get an education, and you're living proof of it. You can do the work yourself. And likewise, I got those same Circle Track magazines.
Really? So
and saw the same books in the back. So I've been down that path as well. Really, really good kind of grassroots understanding of when I started racing. Just trying to understand more about it from the book side of it, from somebody who was a racer. So I've read those same books.
Crazy. Like, I would memorize those books, and then we'd go to the racetrack, and I'd be telling my dad, let's do this, and it was just a pretty cool way of going about it. Kids these days, I don't think they're interested in this stuff anymore, but there are some, I'm sure. But for the kids listening, I mean, take it in.
Yeah.
Read.
Yes.
It's important.
Take the time to become educated in something, right?
In something.
Exactly.
Find your passion and find things about it. So, hey, okay, I got to ask this one, but what's it like to work for a person as competitive and focused as Kyle Busch?
So I worked for RCR for 10 or 11 years, and I started there and worked my way up to being a Cup crew chief for Austin Dillon. And I dealt with a lot of adversity as far as blood's thicker than water through the years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We were competitive. There was years we were very competitive. There was years we were winning a fair amount of races. And then towards the end, when I decided, I think I'm ready to go Cup racing, I got to a point to where the pressure of dealing with blood's thicker than water got to me a little bit. So about halfway through the season, I got to thinking about what I wanted to do in my career. And what was important to me was not being at the highest level of the sport. To be honest with you, it wasn't even about that. It really got to the point to where it wasn't about the money anymore. What was important to me was about performance and winning races, and wherever I could land and whatever I could do to go to a place to win races and be with a manufacturer that put in as much effort as that I felt that needed to be put in to be competitive, right? Mm-hmm. So I had a few opportunities to go to a few different places and a few different manufacturers. And at the end of the day, I wanted to be with Toyota. And I felt like Toyota puts a huge amount of effort into their program. And Kyle Busch is a very sore loser, and so am I. And I just think it fit. And there's nothing more important to me, to Kyle Busch, to the people around here than winning races. And I felt that was going to be the best fit for me.
Yeah, not a bad thing at all. And speaking of Toyota, new truck this year. How's that been?
Yeah, that's been a fun project. We've been working on it for a while, and I think you can see how fast these new Toyota TRD Pros are. Even at Daytona, I think we had the top, I don't know, 6 or 8 trucks qualifying, and this last weekend I think Zane was pretty good, but the top 10 was mainly Toyotas. And the effort, I mean, it's just so crazy. I worked with Chevrolet for so long, and you think the effort that some people are putting in is great, and you have all the tools that you need, and then you go do something else. It's like, holy cow, like this is what we're racing against. And it's pretty awesome. I mean, I have so many tools that I get to use, and it's so cool to have all the people and have all the effort that Toyota puts into our program. And you can see that they perform.
One of the things we had talked about last year on Crew Call was how good Chandler was doing with no practice. You guys are just showing up and rolling off the truck. We're back to practice. Not a lot of practice, but a little bit of practice. We're early in the season, I know, Danny, but how has that impacted the way things have gone for you guys on the weekend, learning the new truck and getting further acclimated with your driver?
It's just another level of confidence is all it is, Steve. It's from something as simple, and Todd could touch on this too. It's something as simple as, on my end, just making sure that the heights are right. Like when you don't have any practice, there's so much that people that don't understand of what goes into this, and making sure that your heights are right are Todd probably knows just as much as I do. Like, we stress about this stuff. It's something so stupid and so simple that people think, but it's really not. And there's so much that goes into these tools to make sure everything's right. And then from the driver's side of things, being able, you fire off on the green flag and you go into turn 3 wide open, and you don't have any experience to this racetrack, that's tough to do. So when he can go out there for 20 minutes and get a good feel for it, and we make a few little minor changes, he started the race with the utmost confidence that I've seen anywhere we've been. So it's huge. It's huge for the young guys coming in. It's been tough these last 2 years with no practice with this kid. I mean, he was the top end of the next talent, but it's taken until halfway last through year to show that, because he's really, really good, but with no practice and these guys not knowing the air and how these things react, I mean, it's difficult.
Yeah, races ended up being where you learned, right? You didn't get any practice time to do it. You have to learn during the race. And to your point, yeah, it's asking a guy that's never seen a racetrack, that telling us that, and I went through this in 2004 with Michelle Jourdain. We went to Atlanta. Andy Houston, you worked around Andy, but he was spotting for me, and he told Michelle, he said, Busch car around here, you can run wide open. And like lap 1, Michelle, IndyCar guy, so he was all good with it. But wide open, we were like top 2 or 3 on the board.
Wow!
But that's, to ask somebody to do that, it's crazy. And to your point, that was practice, right? You're asking him to do it in a race while he's got 30 trucks right behind him. That's to get some practice. I can totally see that.
And the trucks, they punch such a big hole in the air they are probably the most aero sensitive race car truck that I've worked around, just because they punch such a big hole, and they will mess you up in a heartbeat. You get on somebody's door in a truck, it's like all over. And Chandler's had to deal with that, 3 or 4 times where somebody got on his door and he spun out and wrecked the truck. But it's taken till now. He knows what to do now. And without no practice, it's been a bear for these young guys for sure.
So we talk about the aero dependency of those trucks, and coming off a 1.5-mile win at Vegas, and, a lot of momentum, a lot of wide open throttle time. But let's look forward. How's the reconfiguration in Atlanta change how you race Atlanta, or does it become a 1.5-mile race for you like everything else, or does it have some speedway tendencies? What do you see out of Atlanta coming up?
Yeah, I'm not looking very forward to Atlanta. It was a really fun racetrack before, and I realized that they had to make some changes, but you remember in 2019, Todd, when we were starting the season out and we were running all these simulations because we were trying to figure out what car we were going to take to what track, whether it was a hybrid,
yes.
Yeah, that's where we're at right now. So I'm not going to get too involved in it because I think I might have a little bit of an up on some of this, but you gotta, it's an in-betweener there. It might be more lean towards one way than an in-betweener, but the problem is that these guys race in a pack, and it's a big pack. They're not going to get spread out. So you got to have downforce on the thing to be able to drive them side by side. So at the end of the day, that's what's most important is the race. You can have all the speed in the world, but if you can't drive them in the pack, it don't do you no good. So I got a funny story in 2019. I had the high up bosses talk me into taking a speedway car to the old Atlanta. Oof. And God, that thing was really, really fast.
Yep.
And I think we sat on the pole by a little bit, and we'd run about 20 laps, and the anchor'd fall out, and we'd probably went a couple laps down. But
and at all those racetracks, I qualified like 25th with Joey, and we drive to the front.
Exactly. So it's one of them deals. And the other thing we got to think about is how short these races are. There's usually quite a few cautions. We don't run long green flag runs. So it's all that stuff that we got to look into. And, it's a chess match. That's why this stuff's fun.
Yes.
It's never the same. We're always working on something. And that's what I enjoy about our sport and what I get to do for a living is nothing is ever the same. We got a new challenge going to Atlanta. And who's going to adapt to it the best? That's what's important.
There you have it. And when you get done with that, then you go road racing at COTA. So
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that stuff.
Yeah. Well, maybe it'll be dry down there too. So what a concept.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Danny, before we get out of here, I'm gonna introduce your and my religion into this a little bit, Todd. So this may rub off on you a little bit. One of Danny and my religions is kind of our health kick, and you had shared with me, you had shared with me, Danny, the awakening you had after the Roval in 2018, and as I was thinking about it afterward, the awakening I had was 2018. So fall of 2018, two big guys, two larger guys, dare I say, fat guys, decided to change our lives. And we've shared about this in the pits, and we shared about it on our crew call last year. How's the journey going? How's the road life like? How's the eating like? Everything's still good? You still preaching the message, are you?
Yeah, same deal. I've preached the message to probably, at least 10 or 12 people that have lost like 60 to 100 pounds each. And it's awesome to see the results that these people get. And it's not difficult. Nothing in life is difficult if you put your mind to it and you really want to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. If you really want something, go out and get it. I wanted to lose weight. I was tired of being 300 pounds. I wanted to start getting in shape. I turned 40 years old this year, and I don't want to go snowboarding and not be able to make it down the hill. And that happened to me too. I forgot to tell you that, Post. We'll talk about that some other time, but you can't make it down because you're so wore out and so tired because you're fat. And I was getting tired of that, and I wanted to get healthy. And here we are today. We're still on it. keto. I had some cholesterol's a little bit high, so I've been kind of laying off so much of the fatty stuff and kind of going more lean and more gluten-free style. But it's all good.
It's all good. As long as you
I
monitor.
fluctuate about 10 pounds.
Do you? Yeah. I had one of those breakthrough moments. I walk into MRN every Monday, and there's a scale back in one of the men's bathrooms here. There's a scale, and I walk in every Monday, drop my stuff in my office, and go to the scale. And this past Monday, the number was lower than it's been probably in 15 or 20 years.
That's awesome.
And I feel great. Yeah,
that's perfect.
It's phenomenal. It really is. Just crazy. So there we go. We're our religion. That's our little church service here, because when we get started, there was someone walked up to you in the garage at Daytona. I was sitting there talking to your truck driver, your transport driver, and someone walked up and said, "How did you lose all the weight?" And I said, "Oh, this poor guy is getting ready to get religion right here." You know. So,
yeah,
that's cool.
No,
Good
that's
stuff.
really cool.
It
Really
almost turned. I told you before, it turned into a hobby.
Yeah,
man.
it is. It is a hobby, and it's trying different things. My daughter, and this is something that I would never ever have dreamed. My daughter went to India and to become a yoga instructor, and I've now last night took my 5th yoga class. And now that's not
I
a
bet that's a sight to see.
Yeah, no, exactly. Now we don't need to put that visual out there, but the stretching and when I get done with it, I feel spectacular. And so that's, to your point, that's the hobby of, let me try this, let me try that, let me try this, and it's just become awesome. It's just amazing. It really is.
And your message is
now.
Go ahead.
Now that we're not, I got some questions for Todd now.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to put one thing before you put the question,
and then it's your turn for Todd.
because I want to build on it. But the comment you made is a life lesson. Is you find something you want to do and put your head to it, you'll be successful. And that can go for weight loss. It can go for how you and I got to be crew chiefs. I've been asked that question several times, but if you'll focus on what you want to do and find the opportunity in front of you and make the most of it so you can make the next one, you're going to be successful at whatever it is, whether it's weight loss, getting back in health. And I've done a little bit of that. I'm at this level to you guys, but since I've been off the road, I've got a routine for it. But that's a great lesson for everybody out there listening.
Awesome. All right. Now,
I still got goals that I ain't done yet. I got goals that I want to achieve that I'm still trying to chase. So, the last goal was to get back to winning races, and we're doing that. Now I got more goals, and that's what I'm working for still. So you got to keep goals in your life. If you don't have nothing to chase, then you're just going to get lackadaisical. And to me, that's not what it's about. So, okay. So my questions to Todd are, how in the heck, racing Cup as long as you did, at the level that you did, it's pretty stressful. It's pretty intense.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have much of a life. What made you decide that it was time to be done? You were still winning races. You're still running good.
Yeah.
It was, it's got to be kind of a hard decision to make. Or if you set your mind to something, you were just done. I don't know. That's why I'm
here, to your point. I mean, I'll preface this back. Won a championship with Joey Logano. Got an opportunity to work with Ryan Blaney for a couple of years. Ryan's going to win a championship. He is. I have no doubt in my mind that kid's got the talent to. I've said this to Joey too. He's the most talented race car driver at Team Penske.
Right.
I mean,
wow.
Joey's work ethic's phenomenal, but Ryan's just raw talent. Ryan's got a lot of talent, and his work ethic's coming to it, and you're seeing that coming. So was it difficult in that respect? Yes, when you look at those numbers, but we went through COVID. And we took a break, and we got to be home. And while I was home, my daughter from Clemson had to come home and homeschool. So I got to be home at the house with my sophomore in college and my sophomore in high school, my 2 kids. And I really realized, to what you talked about, you got no life outside of racing. I realized how much I'd shortcome my family to chase my dreams.
To me, I don't have no kids or nothing because of it.
And I'm with you, but your kids are Chandler, right? And that's part of probably what makes you really good, is that you raise those young drivers like kids. But I realized how much I shorted my family to chase my passion.
Yeah.
And I'd been successful and I'd done a lot of things. And I didn't, obviously I'm doing this, right? And I'm doing some MRN stuff. So I'm not totally out of the sport, but I needed to get to a point where my life wasn't controlled by my job and I could actually make my family a priority again. And,
Right,
and that's
yeah.
and the realization to me was when I'm 75 years old, Team Penske's, I love them, but Team Penske's not going to care what's going on with Todd Gordon at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
For
But my
sure.
family will.
Right.
So I
Right.
needed to get back to my family. That was the reason I did it.
There
Well,
you
and I know you like to fly airplanes, right?
Yeah. I'm actually in a
Doing
little
any of that?
withdrawal because I don't have racetracks to fly to now.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand. Well, it was very good talking to you, Todd. Like I said, you're one of the guys I looked up to growing up because I knew your story, and you just didn't start at the big time. You worked your way up, and I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's how we all have to tell people that you can do it, right? You did the same thing.
Yep.
You walked in the door at Brendan Gaughan's, and yeah, the thing I get out of this when you told the story is you've been with winners every place you've been, which is really cool.
That is cool.
Yeah, I try to surround myself with that. I ain't done. I still want to make it to the top and get to the right situation, and hopefully have a shot to win a cup race someday. But hopefully that time comes.
Well, keep doing where you're at, and you're probably things will point in the right direction. Danny, it is always a pleasure to chat with you here on Crew Call. Chat with you in the garage. Can't wait to catch up with you again. But thanks for the time here on Crew Call.
Thank you, guys. Let's have a good week, and we'll talk to you soon, hopefully, guys. Thank you.
There we go.
Thanks,
Danny
Danny.
Stockman joining us up at Kyle Busch Motorsports. Always love chatting with Danny.
Yeah,
He's just
really genuine.
genuine good guy. Real good guy.
And all the right focuses.
Yeah.
And he brought some of that stuff up. I think there's great lessons out there for people listening because preaches the same things I do.
Yeah,
You know,
really does.
It does. It's really cool.
Love chatting with him, that's for sure. Race fans, you're probably tired of car insurance ads with like talking animals or whatever. At Root Insurance, they do car insurance differently. Their app gives you smarter rates where your actual driving is the number one factor. Good drivers end up saving money, like up to $900 a year, in fact. That's not too shabby. Maybe you'll miss the talking critters, but Root doesn't need a mascot to save you money. Root for good drivers. Over 1.5 million drivers insured. Download the Root app today. More Crew Call in just a moment. It's Crew Call here on Motor Racing Network. Again, just love catching up with our guys and gals in the garage area. Danny Stockman joining us here. Todd Gordon and Steve Post. Todd, we are headed to Phoenix this weekend, the Valley of the Sun. What are you going to be looking at as we roll into Phoenix this weekend?
Yeah, definitely be interesting to see how this next gen car races there. Some of the pieces that are different. Talked to a few guys about it. As low as we run these cars, and the back and the front, and the hard stops that NASCAR has on them, I'm wondering how the cutting the dog leg's going to be.
Think about that, yeah.
Hitting those aluminum wear blocks that are underneath them or down on the shock stops. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out and how aggressive that is. Had a conversation with Ryan Blaney Monday night on late shift, and he said, by far, I'm not going to be the first guy to do that. I'm going to let somebody else do it. We tried a couple of that at the test, and it's pretty abrupt. So that'll be one. The brake system on these cars is phenomenally better than the cars we had in the past. So the braking points getting into the corners, that's going to be something that I think will be interesting. Loose into turn 3 has been a habitual issue for these cars. It's a challenge that as a crew chief you worked on all the time was how you got into turn 3. Back in the old days it was turn 1.
Turn 1, yeah.
That transition down into there, and your braking point's going to be so much deeper into the corner now. I'm waiting to see what happens there, and then I would assume it'll be resin applied this weekend out there, and how wide the racetrack gets. This car, the next gen car, has made our racetracks a bunch wider, and we widened it out with the resin. I'm interested to see how wide they can get. I think the Harvick line in 1 and 2, right down there on the flat. See who's willing to do that, and how wide it gets up there, and especially 3 and 4, what we can do with that. So it'll be a pretty interesting race, and one that previews our finale. So a lot of notes will be taken out this weekend.
Yeah, I mean it's the first shortish track race. I mean, we had the Coliseum. We understand that, but it's not the 1.5 mile, 2 mile racetrack, and it's not Martinsville either. But it's and I think that's what's interesting. And I agree with you. The brake packages on this car that's going to be a big change for them as they navigate around the track.
I know. We were talking to Ryan this weekend or this Monday night, and he talked about just braking zones getting into pit road at the racetracks we've been to. Said your brake points are way different than they've been. So I can only imagine that's going to be a big factor coming into Phoenix.
Yes, indeed. Going to be good stuff. Motor Racing Network is going to be there all weekend long. We start Friday night, 7:30 Eastern Time. The General Tire 150 for the Arkham Menard Series. We have 2 broadcasts on Saturday, 1:30 Eastern Time. Cup Series practice right into qualifying. And then at 4 o'clock Eastern Time on Saturday afternoon, the United Rentals 200 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. And Sunday, 2:30 Eastern Time, the Ruoff Mortgage 500 for the NASCAR Cup Series. All of that on Motor Racing Network. You can go to MRN.com, find your local affiliate. Of course, we're on satellite and various streaming services as well. And you can also set reminders on MRN.com so you know and you're reminded every time Motor Racing Network comes on the air. So going to be fun. Great hanging out today, and we'll look forward to catching up with you next week here on Crew Call.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
There we go. He's Todd Gordon. I'm Steve Post. Thanks for joining us here on Crew Call on the Motor Racing Network.